We now have in the studio with us Goosehead Insurance, and we're going to talk a little bit about homeowners insurance and auto insurance that's souped up the right way. So we're going to move right along to Blake. You are basically one of the owners of Goosehead Insurance. And so how you doing today?
Fantastic.
Fantastic and amazing?
Yeah, always fantastic
Okay.
and amazing.
All right.
How could you not be excited about home insurance?
I want to know what inspired you guys to get together and start Goosehead Insurance Agency.
Well, it was past experience more than anything else. We each had our own agencies in a different model where we didn't have as many options for folks, and I always joke that we're people pleasers, so we needed more options so we could take care of everybody and provide solutions that made sense, that took good care of folks, but and most importantly provided it at a fair price.
All right, so when you say good options that take care of everybody, I want to emphasize, in my mind, I look at you as insurance brokers, like a brokerage, because you guys have tons and tons of companies and tons of boxes, which I use that scenario. You know, you can't just fit everybody in one box. You have to have multiple boxes in order to be able to cover everybody in their situations, and you make sure that you set yourself up like that.
That's exactly right, and we utilize technology to be able to very quickly figure out which box, at least today, is the best one for you.
All right, so let's go on to homeowners insurance and talk about these endorsements. It's one that everybody should probably have, which I've been told by some of the new builders, I don't know if it's true, that if you have a new house, you don't need this because the piping system is different. But one thing that's often left off of homeowners insurance policies, everybody write this down and call Blake so you can get it, and Ron, his partner, is sewer backup coverage.
Yeah, water backup coverage.
So talk to me about that, please.
Well, I mean, if all of the water going down the toilet sinks and drains doesn't make it out or off the property and it comes back into your home, you have to add the coverage in order for your policy to help you with that. It's pretty expensive when you get into the water remediation game, so we make sure that every client we have has the max coverage, which is $25,000. In North Carolina, the state actually caps it at that. Some of the other states that we work in, you can take it all the way up to the policy limits. But what you find is that a lot of folks in competing in the world of insurance, when it comes down to being so price sensitive, things like water backup, things like good liability coverage, those types of things, fair deductibles, those types of things get left off or manipulated in order to win the price game, so that ultimately they can compete and earn your business, but maybe you don't know because you're not in the world of insurance every day, that they're being left off in order to earn your business, in order to win on price. We just make it a point that that just doesn't happen with us.
So let's pause real quick. Just tell me basically what standardly home insurance covers and what other endorsements other than sewer backup people have the opportunity to get.
So it's probably easier to address it from the main things that are not covered on a standard homeowner's policy. One of those things is earth movement, so things like landslides, mudslides, sinkholes, and earthquakes are not covered on a standard homeowner's policy. The second thing is just maintenance. If you got things that just get old and break, your homeowner's insurance is not going to cover that. That's just the joy of being a homeowner. And then the third piece would be flood. And we're not talking about a pipe broke above the kitchen and flooded the kitchen floor. That's covered in a homeowner's policy. We're talking about rising water. FEMA controls all that through the National Flood Program. They define it as 2 acres or more of rising water or 2 residences. Well, we talk about that, right? There's no such thing as a no flood zone. If it drops 12 or 15 inches of water on your house in a low risk flood zone, there's a chance that it's going to flood.
That's right.
So just so you know, flood insurance is pretty standard for anybody in the low to moderate risk area. $300 to $500 a year would insure you up to the max policy limits or the needed policy limits in order to really do a good job of helping you take care of yourself that way.
Real quick, can you actually go over the tree scenario? Because in Charlotte especially, there's so many trees All right.
You know, we're talking about from the standpoint of if your neighbor's tree falls on your house,
Just
cover.
how does insurance, homeowners insurance work with trees?
All right. So ultimately, boy, nobody likes this answer usually, but if you have a tree on your property that falls, if it falls on your home, it's obviously your homeowner's insurance that's going to help you with that. If your tree falls on your neighbor's home, it's most likely their insurance that is going to have to cover that. They're going to have
So
to
that's weird.
file their deductible.
That's really weird, dude.
So the problem is that the reason that their homeowner's insurance picks it up is that it's an accident.
It's important. When I tell you there's a lot of trees in Charlotte, there's a lot of trees, and that's one of the biggest claims, you know. And even if you have a tree in your yard, so say the tree falls in your yard, it doesn't damage anything, can you file a claim for that?
You can. I don't know that small claims are ever a good thing to really focus on. Small claims create claim records. Claim records start to limit your company options down the road. Homeowners insurance is about catastrophes.
Yes.
Big problems. It's not about the $700, $1,500 small incident that happened. You should really take care of that out of pocket. Don't involve your insurance because they have the ability to charge you going forward for that claims history.
So is it mainly just like maybe the roof, or if a pipe busts in the wall? What all? Give me an estimation of what homeowners insurance typically covers.
Well, that's pretty close to what you're talking about. You're talking about water damage from pipes inside the home, hail damage, wind damage, fire, theft. Those are the primary most
So when you
claims that
say theft, I know they have like a jury endorsement or whatever. If people steal what? Like if you go on vacation, you come back and your house is empty?
Oh yeah.
I mean,
absolutely.
what's theft?
One of the big things that, you know, people don't understand, because that's already included in the policy standard, but a lot of people don't take the time, like you said, to go over their policy and truly understand their limits.
Yeah.
So like if you made customizations or you have expensive jewelry, like say you just got proposed to and got a wedding ring.
Right.
You
So
know?
so there are sub-limits on personal property. On certain types of personal property, jewelry is the main one. Most homeowners policies will cover jewelry up to $1,500 for a single piece of it, and $2,500 for everything.
And you still owe
So
that
I
jury
have
bill.
I have a question to ask you, right? One
So if you
time.
got a $10,000 engagement ring, it is not well covered by your
Not at all.
homeowner's insurance.
Okay, so basically anything in the house that you have that's super expensive, mention it to Blake and see if it has coverage or Ron. So I had this lady one time years ago when I was doing mortgage loans. She came to me and wanted to do a refinance on her house because there was a dog in the neighborhood that she was feeding. But she said it wasn't her dog, but it bit a child in the neighborhood, right? And they took her to court and sued her and won $30,000. And later on, she realized she had it covered under her homeowner's insurance, even though it wasn't her dog. She was feeding that dog, so y'all better know this. And her homeowner's insurance paid it. Talk to me about it.
That's you
Sticky
found like
one.
the 0.0001% instance of certain breeds of dogs that insurance companies don't want to insure. They don't even want the risk that dog may bite somebody.
So if you're a dog owner, you definitely need to get in contact with them.
Because you have some companies that will take that, but a lot of them don't want anything to do with it because of potential liability. But again, you have multiple companies to fit people in multiple boxes. So what if someone comes in your house? What if they fall down the stairs?
If you got a guest on your property and they fall down the stairs, that's also going to be your liability insurance in most cases. Maybe your medical payments, depending on the severity. Liability is when guests are on your property, whether invited or uninvited. They maybe get hurt and they want to sue you for what happened. Two things that we'll touch on liability. First off, to max out your liability or get $500,000 in a policy, it might cost you $2 a month.
Yep.
Significant amount of coverage, very low cost. The second piece of that is that if you don't have enough liability coverage, your income can be garnished if you're taken to court, up to 25%, I believe, in North Carolina. So if it's hard enough living on 100%, let's not find out what it's like living on 75. Your cash in the bank, the assets that are liquid, can be garnished by the court for a liability claim. And third, since we're talking about homes, your equity can be liened.
I didn't even know you could do that.
In the event of a settlement. So,
That's why you need to have
spend the extra
property insurance. So let's talk about swimming pools, because oftentimes we encourage home ownership on this program. We had a home buying seminar this weekend that you were a part of, and Ron. It was excellent. When people are out here looking at property, sometimes you find a property with a swimming pool in the backyard. Some people are into that, some people are not. Can you elaborate?
Absolutely. So, like dogs, swimming pools carry liability with them as well. And certain companies don't want all of that liability on their record. So, swimming pools are usually not a problem by themselves as long as they're fenced. You add a diving board or a slide to that swimming pool and you can get insurance no problem, but ultimately you're going to have fewer options, as certain companies don't want the risk of the diving board or the slide on their books. So you just have to make sure that if you're going to go the extra length to have that fun for the neighborhood or yourselves, just know that your options become more narrow, and typically when your options narrow, your cost is going up.
All right, so basically, I want to encourage everyone to connect with Blake and Ron today, because they need to review your current homeowners insurance policy that you have, and also if you have auto, they can look at that. Sometimes they can get you a lower price on both of them. But the main thing is that they are an agency that cares about people, and they're not skimming back on telling you what all features you can have in the policy. So we're talking about being offered maximum coverage, okay, off the gate, not having to know and have the knowledge of, but being taken care of and knowing all your options. So in the event that something does happen, you are actually covered. Okay, so basically we have some junior insurance agents here today, right?
That's right.
Here she is now. Step up, junior insurance agent. Tell us what your name is and what you want to say to everybody.
My name is Alana, and
Okay, go ahead.
I buy insurance for my dad.
There you go.